This may be the ultimate how to get better at basketball video you'll see, and for a much different reason than most videos you're going to see. So lately I've been getting into a podcast from Rob Gray, and it's called the Perception and Action Podcast. And he had an episode that I'm gonna have to read off because he uses some big words, and I'm gonna break it down in more simple terms for you. The episode was titled How Do Action Capabilities Constrain Affordance Perception and Decision Making. He broke down 3 different studies to understand how players can better react to game situations. So I got 5 big takeaways that can help you play better basketball, literally anywhere. We're talking if you're in the paint, perimeter, offense, defense, rebounding, you name it. Now, the first study they actually looked at on this podcast was with goalies. And what they found is the more advanced goalies, because they had more advanced capabilities, and we'll talk about what those are throughout the rest of this video, but because they had these advanced capabilities, they could now delay their decision making, allowing them to make correct decisions more often than not based on what their body and their mind could do. First takeaway, if you can delay your decision making, and we'll talk about how to do this in a second, you have a much better chance of making a correct decision, and you have a much better chance of not getting faked out. So we all know in basketball there's a lot of fakes and whatnot. So if you were to see me moving this way and you make that decision early when I'm coming here, you might jump this way, boom, I come here, now you get crossed. But if you can delay that decision and wait until my foot is on the ground and I'm already starting to move the basketball this way, you can read that more accurately and jump in front of me. Or same thing with me on offense. If I see you shifting this way, I can make that read. If I can delay that read, I have a better chance of success. So one of the first ways we can delay that decision making is by getting faster or stronger. So if you can move faster, you can wait until I get this foot down before you jump over here, because you can react quickly. So as your body gets quicker, your mind will start to understand that and know that, okay, I can wait until he gets this foot down before I have to move because I'm really quick and I can jump in front of that. And adding strength will also help with that because you can take contact better, and if you're stronger, you can start to turn that strength into speed with the right training. Or your strength could come into play maybe if you're in the post and there's a contact element, whether we're talking about boxing out, whatever the case may be, you can afford to make some of those decisions a little bit later if you have strength. Throughout this video, I'm going to give you different ways to apply these different things. For this one, there's a lot of things we could talk about. For speed, I'll actually have a program linked in the description down below that will really help you with that side of things. That's a little bit more in-depth topic as far as developing that trait in basketball. Next takeaway is movement variables, as he put it in the podcast. So what are movement variables? Basically, it's your ability, think to like Kyrie Irving, Steph Curry, James Harden. They have a lot of different things in the bag that they can do, not just with dribble moves, but also footwork patterns, coordination with their body, their off arm. All these things give you different solutions that you can tap into in an instant, again, allowing you to delay decision making. So the more capabilities and options you have with your entire body and the basketball, now you can wait a split second longer and know, okay, I can move the basketball all kinds of different ways from this position. When my foot is here, I can move my feet here, I can move here, right? And you have all these things in the bag, as we like to call it as basketball players, that you can react to different game situations. But this doesn't just go with ball handling. This could be coming off of a screen, knowing where to go, what your options are. This could come down in the paint when you're taking a layup and knowing what your different options are depending on where the defense is. So at its core, what we're talking about here is skill development. The more skills you have, now you can delay that decision making and know you'll have something in the bag to react quickly with. To help you with this, in the description down below, I'm gonna have a playlist for different moves that you can work on off the dribble, and then also different finishes. Next takeaway, if you can read situations more quickly, now you have an ability to, again, delay that decision making. So this basically means how quickly can you see or hear information, process it, and then get something to happen with your body. To do this, I recommend 1, getting in more games so you get to learn how to read and react to situations more quickly. But number 2, you're only gonna get so many reps of that in a game situation, right? Because you're only gonna get the basketball in your hand so much, unless you're playing one-on-one, which is another great way to get more reps of it in. But another way to do that is get some type of reaction element into your personal skills training. So it's just you and maybe a partner, you and maybe a tennis ball. There's a lot of different ways you can bring that into the mix. It could be a partner telling you what move to do, giving you different movements that you got to react to. There's all kinds of things you can do, but the more we can work on our ability to process information and react quickly, the better. Stephen Curry actually does a lot of this in his off-season training. Now, if you want more specifics on this, I do have some very unorthodox drills. They're not your typical drills in a program called Instinct that I will have linked also in the description down below. Again, those are not going to be your normal drills, so don't expect things to be like what you would normally do. You're gonna have to do some stuff in it that's a little bit out of your comfort zone, and some of it's kind of weird. And the final takeaway, and there's a couple pieces with this and a couple pieces of advice, is your ability to accurately read situations. So your ability to take in information and make the right choice. Again, if you can get better at this, now you can delay that decision. So an example would be, maybe you see me stepping here, but you see this foot start to turn here. If you can read that little information, you know I'm probably not gonna push off this way. I'm probably working on my ability to start coming back this way. Little things like that. You'll pick up little cues maybe on what the person's eyes are doing, things like that. One thing you can do with this in context of an entire game is to look around more, to take in more information. And as you get better, now you'll kind of know what things to look for. In fact, in one of the studies, they talked about pilots and how these pilots basically had a very predictable eye pattern of the gauges they were looking at because they kind of know what things to look for. So what we're talking about here really is experience. But for starters, how you can get that experience is to look around more, use your peripheral vision more to take in more information. And as you get better and more comfortable with making reads, now you're gonna naturally start to know where to look and you can make decisions more accurately. Whether we're talking the entire floor, the person you're playing defense on, when you're on offense, the person playing defense on you, whatever the case may be. And if you wanna go more in depth on this stuff, again, check out the playlists and the programs I have linked down below. Those will help you take this stuff next level.